So I have this eucalyptus leaf with me. We're going to use it to study what a simple flat leaf looks like. Simple leaves tend to look kind of like a teardrop, doesn't it? So we'll start with a teardrop shape and we'll go on to add the midrib. Now that we have a simplified teardrop shape, we can add the midrib. Now we could spruce it up by adding some indents. Give it some crevices and holes. Give it some personality. Already our leaf looks a lot more interesting than just a plain, boring, uninteresting leaf, right? Okay, so we understand how to draw a flat leaf. How about a curled leaf? I have my little model here. And I have colored the top blue and the bottom red. While studying a leaf, we can simplify it into basic shapes. How I like to look at it as is a triangle on the top and a U shape. I see a longer edge and a slightly shorter edge. The angle that you see over here is the surface of the leaf. Now, I will draw the leaf, but how I see it will be slightly different from how you see it because of the camera angle being a little higher. I'm gonna give it a go. We'll start with the blue layer and then we'll move on to the red. We want to try to imagine our leaf as if it is transparent. This will help us ensure that the leaf makes sense and all the edges are connected. So as you can see, the top part and the bottom half are very distinctly a triangle and a U shape. When we draw leaves, we want to break down what we see into simple shapes, and I think then our mind will slowly piece together what we see. Let's do another example. Again, with the U shape and the triangle shape analogy, we're going to try to draw the leaf from a different angle. This time starting off with the blue edge and then following it up with a triangle. Let's do another example. We have a long edge and a short edge of our triangle, and then we have our U shape again. I understand that my thumb is covering a bit, but I think you can use your imagination to fill in the rest. Now that we have our basic shapes together, we have to add the midrib. Now, when you want to draw the midrib, you want to ensure that it passes through the middle of the leaf. And so we're going to try to imagine that our leaf is cut straight in the center with a black line. Let's have a go. Again, we're trying to imagine that our leaf is transparent and that we can see through the lines and how they curve. We got to picture them in that way so that we avoid making mistakes that make our leaves look inaccurate. When we draw the midrib, we want to imagine that the line slices through the center of both the folds of the leaf. You got to curl it all the way through, and remember that it is curved and curled just like the rest of the leaf. Now that we understand how our leaf model works, let's try it with a real leaf. In reality, however, our leaves look a little different. You will notice that there are indents on the top. And so when we draw our leaves, it's going to appear a little different. Let's draw the same leaf using the same principle of the triangles and the U shape, but keeping in mind that there are going to be indents. I'm going to use the same colors so we can compare the two of them. We'll start off simplifying it with a triangle as we did earlier. And then we'll continue with the U shape. But when we add the midrib, we're going to keep in mind that there is a change in shape. Just something to keep in mind when you're drawing your leaves is that sometimes you might see a little indent in the middle, and some leaves will have a little more of a flatter surface on the top, some will have a lot more of a bend and a curve, but I think you get the idea. Okay, let's do one more example. This one is a little different from the others that we have drawn so far, and then we'll move on to mistakes that beginners make. So if you notice with this leaf, again we have similar shapes. We have a U shape here, but then I think the other way to look at the top of the leaf is an S shape. Let's give it a go. So we have the S shape and the U shape. Let's draw the midrib. And if you'll notice with this particular leaf, we have some lovely little holes and dents in there that give this leaf just some lovely character. Let's draw them in. Let's quickly give it some color so we understand the different surfaces that they take. Alright, so these leaves are all wrong. Can you spot the errors? Drawing leaves might seem easy, but they can be kind of tricky. So let's have a look. What are the issues that we face with each leaf? So on this one, if you'll notice, the midrib is disjointed. Uh-oh, wrong. In this one too, the midrib is disjointed. In this one, oh, and let's not forget that the leaf edge does not connect here. This is also wrong. Now how about this leaf? We have the midrib, which flows smoothly, but then over here we have the leaf edge that doesn't line up. So how do we fix these? Let's start with this one. Making sure to connect the midrib all the way through and connect the edges of the leaf together. Remember that there's no amount of shading that can fix a broken leaf, and so it's important to keep these things in mind when you're drawing your leaf, is to ensure that you practice aligning the midribs and the edges of your leaf. Now when we shade it, it looks a lot more accurate. We have fixed our first leaf, now let's do the next one. Again, remembering that the midrib travels all the way through. We'll start with the left side of the leaf. And we will soften this sharp edge here because leaves are bendy and soft. This is the surface of the leaf, but remember that the surface of the leaf is right next to the midrib. And this leaf connects, the leaf edge connects on the other side. Alright, this one is rather simple. We just have to connect the edges of the leaf and we'll be done. Once we give it a little bit of shading, it will all come together. Alright, so what are we taking away from this? We need to make sure that our leaf edges connect, that our midrib flows all the way through, and draw your leaves transparent. It helps you draw more accurately. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. I hope I have inspired you to try drawing leaves. Make sure to practice. See you in the next one. Bye.